Hello everybody, Sky here, and today I'm going to be showing you my very own custom Huggy Wuggy! This sounds a little weirder when I say his name out loud, I will admit. Now, if you're not familiar with Huggy Wuggy, he's from the game Poppy Playtime. I keep wanting to say Poppy Playhouse, but I don't know where that came from because that's not the name of the game. And basically, it's like the new horror game of the month sort of a thing. Only chapter 1 is out at the moment. People seem to like it enough to want me to build the character from it, so that's what I did. It's kind of like a horror game meets Sesame Street kind of vibe, but then also it's absolutely terrifying due to the character design. Because in-game, Huggy Wuggy is like, he's at least like 10 feet tall because he like towers over you. You're like that big in-game, essentially. Maybe more like there, but like he's a tall dude. And yeah, so I decided to go ahead and just make the entire character rather than just a puppet head because I was like, you know, if I do end up using this guy in anything, it'd probably be easier if I just built the entirety of him instead of just his head anyway, so I just went ahead and did that. So if you guys are curious on how large he actually turned out, here is my 18-inch ruler.
Wow, big boy!
And he's slightly taller than it, so he's a big boy. Now before we take a look at his body as an entirety, I want to show you guys his head up close. So here is Huggy Wuggy himself. So I thought it was kind of funny that his head is actually very similar shaped to Bendy from Bendy and the Ink Machine. So he's basically a blue Bendy. His eyes are pretty lifeless and terrifying. He's got a big old smile, and other than that, he's just a solid piece. The fun part comes because I made it so that his mouth has a interchangeable mouth to go with it. So a lot of you might be like, Huggy Wuggy's not scary, he's clearly a happy little boy right here. Well, here's his other face. A bit more terrifying if I do say so myself. Yeah, so Huggy Wuggy just shows up in the game chasing you with his mouth open, and it looks way freakier. Because not only is there like several rows of sharp teeth, but then also he's got like saliva and it looks kind of like flesh in his mouth. And according to game theory and basically the entire fandom agrees that Huggy is not like an animatronic, he's like flesh and bones, because like when he falls off the platform at the end of the game you can clearly see like blood, and then he's got like gums in his mouth, so it's kind of a freaky character when you really think about it. So his eyes stay the exact same, but just the addition of his mouth opening up makes his entirety, or his entire face, look way more terrifying. And yeah, I'm quite happy with how he turned out there. I even added some hot glue for like the saliva, because when he opens his mouth there's generally like gross spit and stuff like going sort of a thing. So in the game you never actually see him open his mouth, he just has the one like closed mouth at the start of the game, and then when he comes back later his mouth is just open and he's like chasing you kind of a thing. So thinking about that, I wanted to make the face as accurate as possible, and I was like, if I make him like a working puppet, then it might not look as accurate as I want. So instead of doing that, I basically just made it so he's got interchangeable mouths. Trickery aside, he's got two mouths. I did a little swap there. So essentially, both of his mouths are removable, and I'll just kind of show you them. So scary mouth, non-scary mouth. Basically I had to make them roughly the same size to cover the same surface area, and then they have magnets in the back part right here. You can kind of see it better on this one. And then in Huggy Wuggy's head, this is what it looks like when he doesn't have a mouth, which I guess it could technically be a third face. This is more of a Cookie Monster looking kind of face. Right in there are magnets on this piece, and basically it just sort of snaps in, and then it's strong enough that it's mostly strong enough. It's strong enough that like I don't have to worry about it just falling out. I mean, obviously, if I shake it a ton, it might come out. But I'm not gonna be doing that for a video. But luckily, I have the other one. So yeah, pretty cool. It ends up hiding the seam pretty well. You can still see it, it's right there. But when it's snapped shut and like from a distance, it looks like a solid piece. So I'm pretty happy about that. So before I show you his body, I did want to address something. So Huggy Wuggy in the games is a lot more fluffy. So he's got like actual fur. And I did look to try to find fur or something I could use specifically for the fabric on the guy. I couldn't end up finding anything that would work for this scale. If I were to make like a full-size Huggy Wuggy costume, like how Springtrap is full-size, if I used like fur, then it would probably work, but since I'm condensing him down into an action figure kind of style, the fur, even if it was on this size, it would just look wrong because the fur would be much larger than it should be. So instead, I went with kind of a slightly fluffy blue material. It still looked a little janky when I was building him, so then as you guys can see now, I went over the entirety of him with some dark blue paint and kind of splotched it on there. And I feel like it kind of makes him look a little bit more fluffy rather than it just being a solid blue kind of a thing. Basically, I'm working with what I got here. Now, real quick before I show you guys his body, it is not currently available yet, but as soon as I get the rest of the samples in, keep an eye out for an announcement video because I'm gonna be having merch soon. What? That's crazy! Yeah, I'm not gonna go in too depth on the whole merch stuff right in this video, but keep an eye out. I am gonna be doing an announcement video once I get the rest of the samples in to kind of make sure they're at least good quality before I open the store for you guys to go and purchase anything. But so far with the few samples I have received, I'm very impressed and quite excited about this, to be honest. So from stickers to face masks, mugs, and hoodies. I don't have any of the hoodies yet to show off. That's awkward. I'm gonna be launching merch, and I'm super excited about it. I've never done anything like this before, so my idea is I'm gonna be kind of doing a little bit of like a minimalistic design. As you can see on this face mask, it looks like a solid color, but if you look up close, it's actually got a pattern on it, and it looks pretty sick. Similarly to that face mask, the hoodies and stuff are gonna have like a minimalistic design where it's got like the logo on the top corner, and then that pattern on the back, and I'm super excited to see how they turn out. So depending on how this minimalistic merch launch does, I might be able to commission an actual artist in the future to make actual like t-shirt designs, if that is something you guys are into. If not, it was kind of just a fun experiment anyway. So keep an eye out for that. Back to Huggy Wuggy. Alright, I kind of had to get a little creative on how I was going to show you guys his body, just because it kind of works better if I have both hands free to kind of show you what I'm talking about. But essentially, here is Huggy Wuggy as himself. And I basically built his head and his body as two separate pieces, and then his limbs are all attached by fabric only. So his feet are actually made out of cardboard and popsicle sticks, and his hands I actually molded out of thermoplastic. And then I actually put these rods in the back of his arms, and other than that, they're basically just glued at the joints. So if and when I decide to do like a VFX test with him, or like a horror short, depending on how well this video does, possibly, basically I'm able to move him like a kind of like a ventriloquist dummy. So if I were in front of a green screen and had my green screen suit on, I could take him by his little rods and basically move his arms around freely, so he can be like doo -doo 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 -doo, or he can have his hand up like his waving pose and so on. And yeah, so here, let's swap his face out for that one, just to kind of get you guys the full experience. You can see he can do his little waving pose. And yeah, now if I want to do his iconic, terrifying, vent crawling kind of animation, I think it is possible. I haven't actually tried to do anything yet, like VFX wise with this dude. But if I take his little rods here, I can rotate his arms so that they have the palms facing the walls he would be in. I should be able to move his arms in a way where it looks like he's coming down a hallway, sort of a deal. kind of get the idea. Where he's like, it'd probably take some work to get the movement quite right. Something like this. I'd probably do it without his head, and then move his arms kind of back and forth like they're going down a hallway, sort of a thing. So if he's like coming right at you, that should work good for that. And then with his legs, obviously I'll have to do a little VFX trickery with this whole situation, but with his legs, they are also just on rods. So if I kind of grab them from behind and pinch, I can just raise them up and down, essentially. So it'll be a little janky to actually figure it out, but I should be able to figure something out for him. Oh Lord, he coming. Oh, look at him go. Ah! But then the other thing that he can do is he can just completely come off of this stand here, and then he's just kind of loose. So his legs are just floppy. Other than that, like I said, there's no actual rod in these, so I could technically sit him down, or if I put the happy face on him, I could pretend he's like one of the dolls or something. So he both works as like a prop for me to hold in my hand if I needed it, as like one of the toy dolls, and he also works for like a full-size Huggy because I can just scale him up in post, essentially. So I'm actually quite happy with how this dude turned out. And yeah, depending on how well this video does, I might be able to make some Huggy Wuggy content in the future, because it's a pretty popular game at the moment. I don't know if it's gonna stay popular when Chapter 2 comes out or not, but yeah, if you guys want me to build other characters from Huggy Wuggy, please leave a comment below, and also subscribe with notifications turned on, because only 22.8% of my views currently comes from subscribed people, and it would very much help me out if you subscribed and turned on notifications, because honestly, if you made it this far in the video, you must enjoy what I do, and it really helps me out, to be totally honest. But yeah, stay tuned for possibly a VFX shot or a VFX test of Huggy Wuggy coming down like a hallway or something. I don't exactly know what I'm gonna do with him, but now that I have him, I have the option to do stuff like VFX shots and like horror shorts with him. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day. I will see you on the next one, and Huggy Wuggy. Tell them goodbye. Wait, tell them goodbye, Huggy Wuggy. Bye. Oh, that's so funny of you, Huggy.